pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dolly, could you do roll call, please?
Supervisor Flaherty.
Here.
Councilman Abbott.
Here.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Present.
Councilman Cahill.
Here.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Here.
Town Attorney Genesi.
Present.
Okay, next up is our 5-minute open podium to any speaker about any topic they may want to speak on. Is anybody in attendance tonight want to do that? Is anybody behind? Oh, there is a gentleman behind the beam. We're all good? Okay. Next up, we have 3 minutes, meeting minutes to approve because of our special meeting last week. I've reviewed the St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, regular town board meeting minutes and make a motion to have them approved.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye?
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Aye.
Councilman Abbott.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Abstain. I was not present at that meeting.
Notice I said St. Patrick's Day and Patty O'Cataldi was not here. Okay. And then our workshop on March 24th, I make a motion that we approve those minutes.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi. Excuse me.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Aye.
Councilman Abbott.
Aye.
And then our special workshop meeting last Thursday night. I reviewed those minutes. That was pretty easy because it was a one-topic meeting regarding the Sandbar Park bids.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Abbott.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Aye.
Thanks for moving things along.
Well, Councilman Abbott reads my mind, so he knew I was going to say I'll make a motion to approve those. I know who was in doing the bills this week. Quite a stack. Councilman Cahill.
Yes, I was here for a while. I reviewed the bills and found them to be in order, so I move that we pay the bills as submitted by the Director of Finance.
Second.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilman Abbott.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye. And then I reviewed the prepaid warrants as submitted by the Director of Finance and make a motion we approve those.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Abbott.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Aye.
Okay, next up is the town board will a review of the 2021 zoning changes associated with 230 Salt Road in the adjoining lands per Town Code Section 225-5.1 Subchapter F. And I know that there is a gentleman. Are you Jared?
I am.
Hey, all right.
How are you?
Come on up, Mr. Hurt, and I will say that, Charlie, would it be safe to say in layman terms for this, that about approximately a year ago, the town board voted to change the zoning from R2 to R3 on these lands?
Correct, it was in April of last year.
Yes. And just by law statute, that if there has been no movement on that,
No construction, correct, yes.
that we need to at least hear why, and that's, Jared, why I think you're here.
It is, and if there's any questions from the town board,
Yeah.
I'd be happy to answer them. So, as a point of reference, May 6th of last year was actually the.
Jared, I'm sorry, I apologize. Could you give your name, address, and who you're
absolutely.
here representing on this?
Absolutely. Jared Hurt with Evans Fox on behalf of Forest Creek Equity Corp. Address is 100 Meridian Center, Suite 300. So by way point of reference, last year we were here before the town board seeking a rezone of 230, 250 Salt Road. It's approximately 69 and a half acres. We were looking for that parcel, there's actually 2 parcels, to be rezoned from an R2 to R3. The town board voted on it on May 6th of last year. By a vote of 4-1, they approved the rezone. Pursuant to the Town Code 225-5.1F, if the property hasn't been subject to construction over the course of a year, we need to appear back before the town board for review, just to consider whether or not essentially the rezoning is still appropriate or if anything has changed. So after we received the rezone from this board on May 6th, we submitted a sketch plan for the subdivision to planning board on July 20th, and then on August 17th, we received preliminary approval with some conditions from planning board. The purpose of the 69.5 acres is going to be a 79 lot residential single-family subdivision. So since August 17th to current, there were some conditions that were attached to the preliminary approval, which through my office and counsel for the town, we have at this point, I believe, worked through to allow us to proceed with the development. So that really is the cause in sum and substance for the delay. So, but I believe Mr. Genesi, not to put words in his mouth, and I think we're on the same page in terms of proceeding forward, so.
Yeah, I would confirm that I think the major reason that they're, not to take your thunder, but the main reason that there's been this delay is because we've had some fairly serious issues that we had to resolve. And Mr. Hurt and I have gone back and forth, and the clients and the town have gone back and forth as to how we can resolve these problems and concerns, and that's why there hasn't been any construction. So that's just my input, my comment on that.
So I'm more than happy to answer any questions that any councilman may have.
Jenny?
I was not on the board at the time, so I'm sorry, I have to abstain myself.
John?
What were some of the stumbling blocks?
With regard to, there was a sewer connection that we were working out the practicalities of it. There was an additional means of ingress egress for fire apparatus access that we were working through. I think those were the two big things really that we were working out, so.
What I'll tell you, John, what happened was that subsequent to the approvals, it came to the attention of the town that, and it was something we were not aware of, but within 24 hours after the planning board approvals, we became aware of the fact the law or the regulations of the estate had changed relative to ingress-egress roads. And they now required a second dedicated road for a subdivision like this, okay? And there's a number of issues with that. It was not only the configuration of the road, but the fact that we have to deal with a county, or I think it's a county road, not a town road. So we had to deal with the county. There was also issue of who was going to be maintaining the road and the makeup of the road to satisfy the town. So I think we are to the point where and I'll refer to Josh and Pat, but I think we're satisfied as to at least the planned development of this road, correct? Yes. At least as far as physically how it's going to be laid out.
Correct. The most recent configuration definitely meets the spirit of the state fire code. So yes, I believe we've come to a resolution on all of the issues.
Does that answer your
Yes.
questions? Okay.
Yeah.
Bill?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Patty?
I have no questions. I'm just happy that we're finally finding a resolution to this.
Yeah. And Charlie, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, this is not an actionable item by us, it's just Jared has come back,
Well,
explained.
it's actionable in the sense that, yeah, I mean, I think basically what you're doing is confirming the prior resolution.
Right.
And my own belief is, and again, I'll defer to anybody who has a better grasp of it, I believe this would be a type 2 seeker as opposed to type 1, which the first one was. This would be a type 2, in that it's nothing more than a administrative and ministerial function of the town board. So if the town agrees that they can proceed, at least with the rezoning. As far as any issues of going back to the planning board, that's another matter, so.
Well, and I just want to make sure, and I think, Jared, you've been made aware, unfortunately, because it is a county road, the
Yes.
DOT of the county, it's almost the first step before you go and do anything with our planning board.
Yes, I've talked to Charlie about doing
Okay.
a revised and updated seeker. But I think for purposes of tonight, it really is just more of a confirmation, if you may, of the prior rezoning.
Right.
We're not asking for, a whole new rezoning application or anything like that. I think it's just a matter of us coming back before you guys to discuss why it hasn't been developed and making
Sure.
sure that it's still appropriate.
It might be semantics when I say it's not actionable. We're not making a motion or a resolution.
Well, yeah, actually you would.
Oh,
You'd
well,
make- No, you'd
sure.
make a you would make a resolution accepting it and continuing the rezoning if the board sees fit, yes.
Well, then Dolly, you ready? I will
I'm
make a
ready.
motion that the Webster Town Board sees fit to keep the zoning change from R2 to R3 on 230 Salt Roads and adjoining lands that was done back in April of 2021.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Thank you.
Jared, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Charlie, thanks. All right, you too, okay. Next up, I made the joke earlier of Patio Cataldi for St. Patrick's Day. I don't want to say that anything that can go wrong will go wrong on the Sandbar Park waterfront improvement projects, but because at the special board workshop last week, we were describing how this is moving along relatively quickly from opening the bids back on Tuesday the 29th to the workshop on the 31st to go over those bids, both base and the alternatives. And then being in a position where the town board can make an educated, intelligent decision tonight on whether to award the winning bid and allow the supervisor to sign the said contract. All of that because we would really like to get construction started down there this month. With Access Bridge being out, this is the time to do it. And I guess I'll circle back to the fact that since Mary Harrington, our town engineer, has been such a quarterback on this, as people saw last week when she presented a PowerPoint to the board, Mary's been out this week ill, and therefore we've got a good team. Thank you, Pat, for jumping in, Chris jumping in, and hopefully we have gotten the board enough information via the workshop slides last week, which are also still that are in the packet again this week, so that we can move forward with a motion to award the winning bidder and authorize the supervisor to sign that contract tonight. Long preface, Bill, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, 2 steps forward, 1.5 back. Before I read the motion, I just want to make sure, well, actually, I can't,
No, you can't.
all right, because I'm authorizing.
I'd like to make a motion, based on the information provided to the town board, that we award in entirety to Keeler Construction Company to the amount of $7,228,538.40, the Sandbar Park project, including Lake Road West Drainage improvements, Sandbar Park shoreline flood protection, and the waterfront park design improvements.
Second.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye?
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye, and I would add that we allow the supervisor to sign that contract.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye. Now I can't remember times, last week, did we go over, Bill, the winning bid is the $7,228,000. The other bids came in at $7,544,000, so about $300,000 plus, and then the third bid was over $10 million. I think we discussed that last week, but just for posterity, that is why.
I remember the slide last week was very small and we couldn't really see
Yes,
very well.
and, well, hopefully, yes. Okay, and Chris Bilo is here, with his, the Parks and Rec Commissioner with his, name placard on order, right? But we'll believe it's you. Next step, tomorrow is a pretty big day. We have the deadline for expressions of interest to formally be submitted by restaurateurs, bar owners who want to manage, run the bar restaurant that will be going in the new building down there.
4 o'clock.
Yep. So, and I know you got some plans for the park closing in mid-April.
Yeah,
Lots going to happen this
yeah,
month.
there's going to be a lot of communication starting probably tomorrow. People will start seeing signs and updates on websites, et cetera, so.
Yeah. And I'll move off of this. Interestingly enough, I think a lot of people started getting today in the mail their April edition of the Webster Today, the quarterly newsletter magazine. On the back, it had an update on the Lake Road, County Road project. Phase 2 is this year, and it runs from about Forest Lawn down to Bay Road on Lake Road. And interesting enough, our project picks up exactly where that one ends. Is that correct? And we think there is some synergies with those two going on at the same time because it is the same general contractor. So it's nice when a plan works out, huh? Okay, moving on. Next item. Art, do you want to describe this before I read this motion?
Absolutely, Supervisor. So there's 7 parcels on Linda Lane off of Orchard that have approached the town to install sewers. We've gone out and received estimates for the cost. The cost would be approximately $1,400 a year for these residents to install sewers. Per Part 85 of the New York State Comptroller's regulations, the 2022 threshold for a sewer district is $706. Personally, I think it's way low. But to get an exemption from that, we're working on behalf of the residents of Linda Lane and those parcels to submit a very detailed and extensive application. Part of that application is to hold a public hearing, and that's what we're asking to do.
Any questions, comments from the board? Nope. All right, well, I make a motion that we set a public hearing to be held on Thursday, May 5th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. in the Webster Town Board Meeting Room to establish a district and authorize a capital project for Linda Lane and to be published in the Webster Herald's Wednesday, April 20th, 2022 edition.
Second?
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
Josh? Want to
Yes.
describe the next one?
Yes, so this is a follow-up to the presentation that was given, I believe, back in February at one of the town board workshops regarding amending some of our setbacks relating to fences and sheds. So what this resolution tonight essentially does is to set a public hearing at the April 21st town board meeting to get some feedback from the residents on the proposed changes that were presented at that time. Since that presentation, we We have reached out to several of the other municipalities that we had examined their regulations just to make sure that they weren't having any unintended consequences or any issues that they have dealt with. And as a result of those conversations, we're pretty confident that this is moving things in the right direction. So that's a brief outline of what this resolution entails. So we're looking forward to having a public hearing on the 21st and getting some feedback from the residents.
Great, and once again, the Webster Today April edition is hitting mailboxes today, tomorrow, Saturday. There's a page write-up on this. Actually, it gives instructions to the residents of where to go on the web to see the PowerPoint presentation you did, Josh, a month ago before the board. And it also announces in that article that obviously goes out to every residence in Webster that the public hearing is the 21st. So, but from a legal perspective, right, Charlie and Dolly, this resolution is how, by the law, we have to advertise a public hearing. So, without any further ado,
So I would move that we set a public
Thank you.
hearing to be held on April 21st, 2022, regarding changes to fence and shed setbacks, local law number 2, to be published in the Webster Herald on April 13th, 2022.
Second.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Nguyen?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty?
aye.
Thanks for the work on this, Josh. It's been a long time coming, but I most certainly welcome it.
Thanks, John.
Next up, I guess, Chris, do you want to talk to this, or is there, I mean, or would you rather me? I'm getting a feeling from Bill and Patty that they don't want me talking.
No, go for it.
No, I just, we have
You-
not had a workshop on this.
Why don't you explain it, since you've had most of the meetings?
I have, yes. Well, this next resolution has to do with the fact that I think that the town board is aware that for the last 12 to 18 months, Chris Bilo, myself, I think Josh's been involved, Mary, several of the town officials have been working with the Friends of Webster Trails leadership and an ad hoc green space committee in an effort to try to identify properties that potentially could be bought by the town or donated to the town as land, green space that's kept forever wild, not developed. You might have remembered that we had a workshop about a year ago. A consultant came in and told us that, hey, I can get you to that referendum. It's going to cost the town $250,000. As we asked some questions on that, it became apparent that the town would have to invest, I'll call it invest, $250,000 to get it to referendum with no guarantee that the citizens would ever vote yes to what was on that referendum. Because that referendum potentially could be, we want to buy 1 acre of land for $1 billion. Bit of an exaggeration to make a point. So we backed off of that, which I think was a good fiscal move, and those three agencies, or the three entities of the town leaders, the ad hoc committee, and Friends of Webster Trails have been doing some of that work, identifying properties, reaching out to the owners, and seeing, you know, what their appetite is right now for selling or donating the lands to the town. Within that process, a parcel was identified on Herman Road, approximately 30 acres, that Friends of Webster Trails, Barry Dean, who was involved in this process also, Councilman Emeritus, that is thought of as a very strategically great property for the town to get to, for connectivity of current trails. And the attorney who helps the Friends of Webster Trails researched and found a $300,000 forestry grant. And Bill, the reason why this has not been in a workshop is that he let us know about this about 2 weeks ago. And when we had already been talking to this owner, and they were more about buying it or donating it months from now. But when this grant came up, it kind of escalated the conversation. And now the grant needs to be applied for. The deadline is Wednesday, May 12th. And we have basically, I'm sorry, April 12th, Wednesday, April 12th, as in 6 days from now. So the 5, 7, 10 different items that need to be going to the state of New York, DEC, forestry, whatever, with this grant application have been accumulated by us in the last 2 weeks. An appraisal of the property, a letter of intent from the buyers that shows the state that they are serious about selling the land. How do they find out in this grant application if the town is in support of us getting the land and in support of it via getting the grant? This resolution.
I'm confused about the setting aside of funds piece.
The setting aside of funds piece. Well,
That's the resolution, so I'm just confused about,
the best way that
The
I could
fund.
describe that is the grant application is $300,000. The appraisal of the property is $287,000. We
What?
have, pardon?
The appraisal is $287,000,
That is correct.
or is that what it was appraised for?
It was appraised just last week by a New York State licensed certified appraiser
Right.
per the grant demands for $287,000.
Okay, so I misunderstood you. I thought you
Okay.
said the appraisal was 200.
The-
Never mind.
the appraisal came in-
I got, yeah,
The
got you.
appraisal,
Came in at $287,000.
$287,000. Now, it's really, actually, the appraisal is in the packet. It's dated March 31st, 2022. So it was done 7 days ago. The setting aside of monies,
so that's the delta.
as you may remember, there is a benefactor to the town who just donated. I know you're having a little sidebar conversation there, but this is important.
I'm listening.
We have a very nice woman who donated money to the town for the purpose of buying property, and we've already, at a board meeting a couple of weeks ago or months ago, bought 5 acres for $35,000 with $35,000 of that $100,000 that was donated. That benefactor, that donation, she has said that there's money, the soft cost of this, she's willing to donate more money to have this happen. A lot of that would depend on the delta, as I like to call it. If we apply for the grant and we get awarded $300,000, this is a pretty easy transaction because, the town taxpayers won't be out one penny. Where it's going to become interesting, and I was over at the owner's home today for an hour. They don't live in Webster. They have the land in Webster, but they live in another town. They're an older couple, and I've been working through their daughter. And their daughter introduced me to them today just to make sure. Wanted to make sure that this was a real thing as they were signing the letter of intent. And I've been very clear to them that if we get it to a point where the grant comes in at $50,000 and you want $287,000, this may not happen. Because then the town board has to come back and look at that delta, that difference between $50,000 in the grant and the $287,000 asking price, and say, do we want to dish out of our general fund or park fund or whatever $237,000? We are not deciding on that tonight. That'll be for another day, if indeed the awarded grant comes in lower than $300,000. What we are deciding on tonight, because of a time expediency of having to have this in by Wednesday, April 12th, is whether the board is going to do a resolution to support making this application for the grant, of which the attorney for the Friends of Webster Trails has done it pro bono, as far as I know. Charlie?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Yep, and we will have to, when it gets submitted in, I'm targeting Tuesday, I don't wanna wait right till Wednesday. So I said we'll have all the pieces together Monday, because the town's submitting it, we wanna make sure it's representative of what we want submitted. But he did all the legwork,
He did.
so, does that help explain where we're at?
Well, you're asking the board to approve $30,000 to set aside, based on what I'm reading, for next year. So you're committing 30,000.
Well, then you know what, then we should word that differently.
And that's where my question was.
I'm sorry, 29,969.80,
Yeah.
to be exact.
Yeah, well, then that's gonna be changed in the resolution. That would come from the donator.
So we are not setting aside the funds.
It will come from the donation
Yep,
of Dr. Donbavy.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
No?
Any here?
When's the grant award going to be announced?
July.
Okay.
July of 2022 is what the Forestry Commission state has said that they will be letting us know on the grant award. So, I'm thinking, Charlie, because of the robust conversation, which there should be on something like this. What do you say?
I think
You
the
want me to
board
read
is-
it all, or?
No, I don't think, I think, it's, my own comment is I think the board was thrown by the word budget. It's right off the bat,
Yeah, no, and you know what, Bill?
because it really is not,
Nice
it's not a
pickup.
budgeted
It's a
item.
great pickup. No, it's not. No.
Although, can I, just, sorry to confuse this even more. Since the benefactor, the donor who had given money for other projects, is saying that she is going to donate more to this, but has not yet donated that, is that the reason that we need to set it aside? Because we don't have it from her yet? And that we plan on getting that to cover this? I just want to be sure we're doing it. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do, and
I mean, how can
it's
we?
interesting. I mean, I don't,
I have one additional question.
sure?
Why is the town paying $10,000 an acre for the property? We didn't pay that for any other property we've purchased. We just spent $7,000 an acre for the last purchase.
Bill, it's a great question, and this is for the people that, this answer is gonna be, why are we, it's tied to, in a lot of ways, the same philosophy of, we don't need the state to give $800 million for the Bills Stadium. That's costing us money. That should be used for people that are hungry or whatever. The reason I use that as an example is, if the state's gonna give us a grant bill of $300,000, and a New York State certified appraiser came in and said that this wooded land is $287,000, it's $10,000 an acre. Is the town paying $287,000 for this property, Bill? Is the town paying $10,000 an acre?
I'm just saying that if we pay that kind of money,
Yeah.
other people are going to expect the same thing.
Other people.
I don't want
would-
to set a precedent.
I'm gonna, you know what? As long as we're into this, when I was out at their home today, I had to educate the daughter and the parents about the fact that their realtor, who's a very respected realtor, who I know in Monroe County, said, you know, I think that land's worth $16,000 an acre. And I had to educate him, Bill, and I said, you know, you might know I owned a mortgage company for 25 years. And a lot of people don't understand this, is that their realtor, no matter how great a gal or great a guy they are, their estimate of value doesn't hold a candle to a New York State certified licensed appraiser's value of that property. That's why the grant didn't ask for your realtor's estimate of $16,000 an acre and $470,000 on this property. They asked for a New York State certified appraiser, because a New York State certified appraiser is gonna submit something that's 30 pages long that has comparables and this and that and this and that.
Okay.
Now, I'm gonna say it again. Besides having to educate them on that today, if this award comes in less than $300,000, Bill, that is a tremendous question that this board is going to have to grapple with. Then we are setting a precedent. If there was no grant money here, I'm not a big fan of paying $10,000 an
Okay.
acre.
All right, that answers my question.
Because if we do go out and do that, when we just bought a property on Phillips Road for about $6,000 an acre, when we just bought the Eckler property for $3,000 an acre, when we just got donated property, call me cheap, but I don't want to set the market at $10,000.
Okay.
Somebody wants to come in on this thing and say, you paid $10,000 an acre, and we say, well, you know, you're not comparing apples to apples. We got a grant for $300,000. You go get a grant, and we'll consider buying your property for whatever price you say. Without the grant, not gonna happen. So,
The other thing I want to add is that, to Bill's point, if someone came and said, well, you paid that for theirs, why won't you pay it for ours? There are very specific conditions under this grant of a community forest grant.
yes,
And it has to contain old growth, and it has to be untouched and forested. Forested parkland, carbon sequestration, preservation of community character tours. So there's a lot to this grant that wouldn't necessarily apply to a lot of other parcels in town.
no. And I really do appreciate the questions, because this did come to the board. Yeah, you're right, Bill, we've had no workshop on it. It came very fast. Chris, would that be a, you know? And I've tried to be straight with all the parties on this one, is that this is all a song and dance until that grant is awarded,
The award comes through and you know where you're standing.
you know? 'Cause there's no negotiated contract for price. So,
Thank you, sir.
how much do you want me to read of this, Charlie?
I think maybe just a very brief description, the 28, maybe just that, and maybe the first two paragraphs would explain it.
I'm gonna make a motion, the Webster Town Board to set aside funds for the acquisition of 28.7 acre parcel on Herman Road, tax ID number 064-01-1-17, for the creation of a community forest pending award of New York State DEC Forest Conservation Grant. Whereas the town of Webster, New York desires to apply for a $299,698 in financial assistance through the 2022 DEC Community Forest Conservation Grant Program, a reimbursement grant, and whereas the grant program offers funding for acquisition of land to establish community forest for public benefit. Now therefore it be resolved, the town board of the Town of Webster approves and endorses the application for the 2022 DEC Community Forest Conservation Grant Program and commits to passing a budget of at least $29,968.80 for the next year to support this project, on the condition that a donor is reimbursing the town for that $29,969.80.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
All right, next up, make a motion to declare the following item for surplus dash transfer from the police department. One Glock 45 duty handgun, tag number 896905.
Second?
Who made the second?
Either one of us.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn?
Aye.
And the last item up tonight on the formal agenda is a motion to declare the following item for recycling from the town clerk's office, Dolly. A Panasonic fax machine, tag number 1026.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilwoman Nguyen.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
All right, now, we'll see if we get any call-ins the next 5 minutes. We'll do our going around the room, but Charlie, as we go around the room at the end, we are going to make a motion to go into executive session. And it is going to be under employment.
Okay.
All right. Arthur?
So we are very busy at the food department. We got a great winter with a full staff. We were able to honestly clean out a lot of stuff, as you've probably seen from the surplusing in the last few meetings. We're moving ahead very rapidly with our phase 2 of the project, of the wastewater treatment plant project, resource recovery facility. We have been taking advantage of the weather when it's good, gotten our flush truck out, and doing the best we can to get ahead of things.
Great. Chief?
A busy time, a lot of personnel changeover, so we've had some vacancies. We're looking to hire. If anybody's looking to lateral transfer, we're accepting applications. We're doing promotions and staying busy.
Great. Chris?
We are full steam ahead for summer. It's been a very busy start to the 22 year. Programs are doing very well. We are seeing record numbers in several of our program areas. All of our summer camps are full with wait lists, so we're looking forward to a very busy and active summer.
Pat?
Me?
Yes?
We're getting into full swing for the leaf mulch pickup, doing bulk deliveries, and the public pile is out. It has changed locations this year through coordination with Parks and Rec. It's now located off of Orchard Street, in a portion of the North Ponds parking lot there, so the public can get wood chips and leaf mulch there, or contact our department to get it delivered directly to your house for a small fee. So we're in the middle of the swing of that while wrapping up some of our winter operations, doing lawn repair, removing our guidance stakes, and things of that nature. We'll be out working on that, mailboxes, remainder of those, and hopefully we're not going to see too much more winter weather, but just wrapping up those operations. We're very excited. We're entering the final stages of the feasibility study for the new highway facility, working with our consultant that we awarded the contract to here a while ago, and we're starting to get a look at some concept plans and some layouts for that facility, and it's very exciting. So we hope to be back here shortly, either the end of the month or possibly early next month, with that report to share with the board and go through it with everyone. So
that's awesome. Josh?
I'm happy to report that we have officially kicked off the West Webster Revitalization Plan project. We had our first technical steering committee back on March 16th, which involved a walking tour of stakeholders, town officials, Monroe County and state DOT. And we're working on scheduling the first citizen stakeholder committee for sometime in the month of May. So stay tuned to our website for the specific date and time. There will also be a website developed where people can give their feedback and answer some survey questions, identify areas of concern, and that sort of thing. So we're very excited to have kicked that off.
Great. Bill?
No, highway's ready to go.
I like it. Patty?
I think that our very capable department heads have given all the updates. I can't think of anything else.
Ginny?
Thanks, everybody. And also, too, I just want to remind it, this is National Library Week. So take your families to our Webster Library and enjoy, all the facility that they have there. And also, too, it's a National Volunteer Month. Thank you for all the volunteers.
Great. John?
Good.
I'll end with Charlie because Charlie's going to help me with the motions.
Okay, the fourth installment of the town and county tax is due by April 30th.
Okay. Charlie, any
I'll just
parting
help-
words to
I'll just
the
help
regular
you.
meeting?
No, I'll just help you with the motion.
Okay.
The only question I have is who's going to be invited to the executive session?
Town board, town attorney, and Chief Colmeyer.
Okay. This is going to be a motion for executive session under section 105, subdivision 1, subdivision F of the Public Officers Law in a matter regarding the employment conditions, et cetera, of a particular individual. Correct.
That is my motion.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill. Councilman Abbott.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Aye.
Councilwoman Wynn.
Aye.
All right, and that is at 8:15, and Dolly, we will let you know when it comes out. That is the end of the public portion of the meeting tonight.